Hello, Erica. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hello, thank you for having me, Abby.
No worries at all. Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do?
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Erika, and the individual giving team lead for Scottish homelessness charity Bethany Christian Trust, which some of you may or may not have heard about. And as individual giving team lead, the areas that I would cover would be anything that's a donation from an individual. So that goes all the way from written appeals, which we do, a Christmas appeal, a Lent appeal, and so forth, down to major gifts as well that we might receive that could support specific projects, and even legacy gifts. So, donations that people have chosen to leave in their will.
Awesome. Lovely. Thank you so much. And what is it that you love about fundraising?
Oh, what do I love about fundraising? I love fundraising mostly because of the people. I think most people that go into fundraising are similar to me in that they are maybe quite creative or enjoy working in the creative area, but also want to do something with a little bit of purpose as well, and want their job to mean a little bit more than collecting a paycheck. And so when you're in fundraising, most people you work with are also really passionate and hardworking and a little bit fun and outgoing. So it's just a really nice environment to be in.
Great. That's so cool. I know a lot of the people doing fundraising for our churches may not have chosen the path of fundraising, and are most likely not getting paid for it. So, what would you say, like, how to find joy in
Yeah.
fundraising? How to be confident with it, even if it wasn't maybe your first choice of what you would do to support your centre, but you know it's something that's needed.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I think it's something I hear in fundraising all the time. So to encourage anybody who feels they've just randomly fallen into it, I think most people fall into fundraising. You don't go to school and learn about it and think, oh, that's the profession for me. But when you do start doing fundraising, you are in a fortunate position of actually being able to facilitate great projects and great work that supports people. And I guess not all of us are blessed with being necessarily perfect in a service provision kind of sense. We may be not the right person for that, and so fundraising is just another way in which we as individuals can help to support charities or support great projects, using the talents that we have, which might be just slightly different from other people as well.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Um, so, how then, once you've sort of gotten around to the fact that you're in fundraising now, you're just going to have to do it. So,
Yeah.
how do you get confident in basically asking people for money? Because I
Yeah.
know that
I
can be
mean,
awkward.
asking is always the scariest part. Even now, I still get, we can have a fantastic conversation with a supporter, and then you get to that moment, and it's like, I would say that it is a muscle that you kind of need to exercise. And the more times you do ask, then the more easy it feels. A few things that I find helps is having a really strong ask in your mind. It's much harder to say, we would like you to support us without any why and any explanation of the need. But if you're really clear in your head about, okay, this is what the need is, and this is what your contribution can make, and this is the specific project that we want you to support, you've already got a little bit of a framework, and it becomes a lot easier, I think, because you know what it is that you're asking for. You're already passionate about that project or interested in that work, then it just makes things a lot easier. One thing I would say is, like, as Christians, I think, you know, in a way, sometimes it almost feels even more inhibiting, or at least when I started, it was more inhibiting to ask for money, especially if it's like asking for money from your congregation, for example, because you know that they're there not just as supporters, like, we're a charity, so I know that everybody on our supporter base is there because they want to give, and it makes asking easier. But if it's your congregation, maybe that's not why they're there, for their spiritual and well-being. So I remember, I really can't remember where I read this, but one thing that really helped shape my thinking around asking, actually, and around fundraising in general as a Christian was this. I think it was a blog, maybe even. Anyway, it said, we often think about giving as a way to express our faith, and lots of people express their faith through giving, but we don't necessarily always think of it as a way to increase faith or to further our faith. So as fundraisers, when we're doing our fundraising, if we remember that actually what we're doing is helping the spiritual and emotional well-being of those individuals, people want to give and support work. They just don't know how. So if we can reframe our thinking and think, this asking isn't me begging for money or pushing somebody into doing something. It's something they want to do. They want to increase and grow in their faith, and actually giving can be one of the ways that happens. Then it really helps to kind of shake off some of those nerves, I think.
Yeah, that's really lovely. Like giving, obviously, yeah, it can be such an expression of faith. And I also think that asking can be a real expression of faith as well. Like you're saying, like, I have confidence that God has his hand on this conversation and that he wants me to be doing this work. So why would I be nervous about asking this person to support that?
Yeah.
So that's really cool. I love that reframing. Any other top tips for fundraising with individuals, with your congregation, with anything like that?
Yeah, I think, again, and this also helps with asking. I think at Bethany, we always think about how we look after our supporters or our donors. People will donate, and especially Christians will continue to donate even without necessarily being asked or thanked that much, because that's not why we give, right? But giving that thanks, and in particular giving real encouragement and updates about the progress of the projects that they're supporting, really helps your supporters and donors understand what they're doing, and it helps to encourage them. It helps improve their spiritual and emotional well-being, but also further down the line, when you come to ask again, they're already far more, I suppose, enthusiastic about whatever it is you're doing. So the asking becomes much, much easier. Sometimes you don't even need to ask, because people are so involved and invested in your work, because you've been, sending lots of updates, showing people the impact of the work, that they just come to you and say, we want to help. This is great. And I think that's really important. I know the people who are watching probably aren't professional fundraisers, all of you, and so you don't necessarily have all the time in the world, and it might feel like you don't have the time to spend on crafting really big updates or finding out exactly what the impact of the work has been so far. But I really can't recommend enough how much that helps both you as a fundraiser in building that relationship with your donors, but also helps your donors and supporters understand the work and feel connected to what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. I think thanking is so important. Thank you. Anything else?
I mean, fundraising is a really fun thing once you get into the groove of it, but it is a little bit intimidating at first. I recommend, if it's possible, to build a little bit of a network with other people that might be doing the same thing. It doesn't have to be professional fundraisers, but other people working, acting within, I suppose, other churches or whatever the area is that you're fundraising, and try and have conversations about what difficulties you've run into and what kind of things have worked. Supporting each other and feeling like you've got that network of people really helps encourage you. And also, sometimes you just feel like you're a boat in the middle of the sea. You're trying to do this thing and you don't really know whether you're doing it right. What's going on here? I've never had any training in this. Well, actually having other people around you who are in that same situation, you can encourage each other and kind of push each other forward a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. We massively encourage connections between the network, especially in sharing good news stories, clients that have, transformed their lives, come to faith, like all the amazing things that happen with our clients. So yeah, I would definitely agree. Cool. Well, unless there's any other top tips, I will sign off.
No, thank you.
Okay.
It's lovely to speak to you, and I wish everybody who's out there working really, really hard all the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.